Hello guys, today I'm just making a video on some basics insights on how to solve 5 questions related to direct and inverse proportion. I know many of you guys have this topic for exams, so hopefully this video might help you guys on how to solve these questions more easier and more faster. So if you guys have enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps a lot. And yeah, let's begin with the video. So the first things that you have to understand about direct and inverse proportion is that proportion questions usually involve two variables, that is usually often x and y, which are linked in some way. So you'll have to figure out the relationship between them and use this to find the values of x or y given one value. So for direct proportion, you have something, it just technically means that something that increases together. When one increases, the other increases as well. But for inverse proportion, you have something that where one increases, the other one decreases. So the first question here states that a machine fills 1,000 bottles in 5 hours, and you have to work out how many hours it would take the machine to fill 1,200 bottles. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a ratio statement here of bottles to hours. So you have 1,000 bottles and you have 5 hours, and you have to work out how long it would take the machine to fill 1,200 bottles. So in this case, we're going to cross multiply this. This is more like a ratio method, but you guys can follow any method you guys like to solve in this type of question. So I'm going to stick with this one. So yeah, 1,200 times 5 divided by 1,000. So if you're going to put that in a calculator, you should be getting about, let's say, 6 hours. So it's going to take 6 hours for the machine to fill 1,200 bottles of water. So that's the idea. Okay, let's move on to the next question. The next question states that the weight of a piece of wire, that is in kilograms, states that it is directly proportional to its length in length centimeters. Now W is given by the formula W is equal to 30L. You have to find the length of the wire weighing 75 grams. So in this case, they have given you a proportional statement by giving its equation form. What do I mean by proportional statement is where W is proportional to its length. So this is more likely to define it as a proportionality. This form is more like an equation. So we're going to use the equation for this. But the 30 here is what we call as K. So K is 30. So what I mean by K is just some constant number. It's like an unknown number they're going to use while dealing with trickier proportions. So yeah, I'm going to write down the formula again. You have W is equal to 30L. So now what you're going to do is, based on this question, you're going to rearrange this formula to make L the subject of the formula. So you have L, that's the length. In this case, you have length equals the weight divided by 30. So you're going to put in equal sign again. You have the weight is 75 grams. So in this case, it's 75 grams. You're going to divide this by 30, which you're going to get 75 divided by 30 to give you about 2.5 centimeters. So this is your length. So your length is going to be equal to 2.5 centimeters. Okay. All right. So hopefully that's understood how to solve that type of question. Let's move on to the next question. So the third question is where we're going to deal with equation forms in these type of questions. Is where y is inversely proportional to x when y is equal to 15, x is equal to 4. Find the value of y when x is equal to 12. So now this question is usually for about 3 marks. So you have to gain these 3 marks precisely with some working. So it's mentioned that it's inversely proportional. So what this means is you have to write down the proportionality statement. You're going to say that y is inversely proportional to x. Now, you're going to write y is equal to something about k, that is k divided by x. So this is the proportionality statement when dealing with inverse proportion. You have to write k divided by some variable of x. Whenever they say inversely proportional, you have to do k divided by that value that it's proportional to. Alright, so now they're giving you some values. So now you're going to use this y equals 15, and you're going to use this x equals 4 to find out the value of k, which is a constant number, which I'm going to repeat again, is that it's just an unknown number. It's just a value they're going to place there. So you have 15 is equal to k divided by 4. You're going to multiply 15 times 4, which you're going to get k's value to be about, let's say 15 times 4 is what, 60? So it's going to be 60. Now you're going to write the statement again where y is equal to 60 divided by x. So now this becomes your equation, just similar to the previous question which we had done about length and weight, and where 30 was the constant number over there. So the same case here, 60 is a constant number where k is just an unknown number. So now based on this equation and this proportionality statement, we're going to find the value of y when x is equal to 12. So you're just going to substitute the value of x into this equation. That's all you're going to do in order to find out the value of y. So y is equal to 60 divided by 12 to give you the value of y, which in this case is just 5. So you have y is equal to 5. That was pretty simple when dealing with a 3-marker question, that you've just got to understand that inverse proportion usually deals with something dividing each other. So what you have to do is you have to convert the sentence into a proportionality statement, and you have to replace the proportionality symbol with an equals to k, and you have to just find a pair of values of x and y somewhere in the question and just substitute them into the equation in order to find out the value of k. Once you do that, you're going to put the value of k into the equation, and yeah, you're going to just find out the value of y. That's all. Let's move on to the next question. So the next question, okay, this is a little bit worded problem. So what the question is stating is that the cost of a circular table is directly proportional to the square of the radius. So a circular table with a radius of 40 centimeters costs about, I think this is pounds 50. And what is the cost of a circular table with a radius of 60 centimeters? So you have to read the question carefully and understand this from a perspective view. Is that the cost is, let's say I'm going to give it as C. The cost is directly proportional. We're going to write the proportionality symbol, in this case, is directly proportional to the square of the radius. So we're going to give the radius as r, and r is squared, okay? Because they're stated in the question that it's directly proportional to the square of the radius. Now, since they mentioned that it's directly proportional, we know that we have to do k times r squared. So you're going to write c is equal to k times r squared. For inverse proportion, you would do k divided by r squared, and for direct proportion, you have k times. That's just one rule when dealing with direct proportion. I'm just going to write it down for you guys so that you guys can understand, is that direct proportion has y is equal to kx, and inverse proportion, this is a good tip to write down when dealing with this proportion, is that y is equal to k divided by x. Alright, this is one good tip you're going to keep while solving these questions. So you have c is equal to k times r squared. So you have your statement question already found, statement equation found, so it's k r squared. Now a circular table with a radius of 40 centimeters, they've given you the radius and they've given you the cost. Now you're going to find out the value of k. You're just going to substitute them to find the value of k by making it the subject of the formula. That's all you're going to do. So you have cost to be about 50 is equal to k times the radius, which is square. I'm going to put this in brackets, and you're going to write it down as 50 divided by 40 square. Now what we're going to do is, since this is a fraction, we're going to simplify this to about 1 divided by 32. We're not going to leave it as a decimal. So you have k is equal to 1 divided by 32. Alright? Now what I mean by this is, now you're going to substitute the value of k into this equation. You're going to put it there back. So you have c is equal to 1 divided by 32 r squared. Now you're going to find out, the question states that you have to find out the cost of a circular table with a radius of 60 centimeters. Okay? So what I mean by this, you're going to find the cost, 1 divided by 32 with a radius of 60. You're just going to use substitution. So directly inverse proportion is just mainly about substituting some values in together and just getting the equation and finding the value of k. And yeah, that's it. That's all you need to know about about the basics of direct and inverse proportion. Once you do that, you're going to get about 112.5 pounds, I think. Yeah, pounds. So that's your cost. Cost is equal to pounds, 112.5. So that's your answer for question 4. Let's move on to the last question. Now the last question states that a is directly proportional to the square root of c, and where w is inversely proportional to a cubed. Now when c is equal to 49 and a is equal to 35, when a is equal to 2 and w is equal to 16, you have to find the value of w when c is equal to 4. Now this is using two questions related to direct and inverse proportion, so you have to carefully analyze this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go this one by one. So you know that a is directly proportional to the square root of c. And we're going to write a is equal to k square root of c. That's one equation. I'm just going to put that highlighted there. Then you know that w is inversely proportional to a cubed. So we're going to write w is equal to k divided by a cubed. So that's one equation. So you have two equations in this case. Now, they have asked you when c is equal to 49, we know that in the first equation, we're going to write this first equation, second equation. In the first equation, we have c and a. So we're going to use these two values to find the value of k. So we're going to write k is equal to a divided by square root of c. And over here in the second equation, we're going to rearrange it where k is equal to w times a cubed. So remember guys, this is the same equation hand. All we're doing is just rearranging each equation. Now you're going to use this part of the question for equation 1. You're going to use this part of the question for equation 2. So you have c is equal to 49 and a is equal to 35. So you have k. I'm just going to split this question up. K is equal to 35 divided by the square root of 49, where k is going to be about, let me just check this out in the calculator, about 5. Alright, so this is about 5. In the second hand equation, you have w is equal to 16 and a is equal to 2. That's in the second hand of the question. So you have 16 times 2 raised to the power of 3. 16 times 2 raised to the power of 3 to be about, let's say, 128. So this is your value of k for the second hand question. This is the value of k for the first hand question. So now you're going to rewrite your equation statements again, where you have a is equal to 5 square root c, and you have the second hand equation where w is equal to 128 divided by a raised to the power of 3. So you guys can see I've labeled the numbers together so that you guys can easily find the equations. Now you have to find the value of w when c is equal to 4. So you have to find the value of w when c is equal to 4. So the second hand equation has no variable of c, and that can only be found once you have the value of a, which is in the first hand equation. So you're going to find it out as 5 is going to be 5 times square root of 4, where a is equal to 5 times square root of 4 to be about 10. Now you're going to put this value into the second hand equation. So you have w is equal to 128 divided by 10 raised to the power of 3. Once you do that, you should be getting a value of about let's say w is equal to 0.128. This is your answer for this question, to find the value of w when c is equal to 4. So you guys can see that we have written many proportional statements. This is usually about 6 marks, so you guys have to score and understand how to use the proportional statements. All you need to do is that direct proportion is where k is multiplied by a certain variable, and inverse proportion is where k is divided by a certain variable. You just need to find the value of k and then understand how substitution works. And yeah, I think that's it. That's all you need to know about direct and inverse proportion. And yeah, if you guys have enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps a lot, and new content will be posted soon. Do comment below on what your thoughts are. Should I continue solving past paper questions or topic by topic questions? And yeah, I think that's it, guys. Alright, bye guys.